We gather here today under the unfortunate circumstances of witnessing an unsettling fracture in international relations, characterized by deception and coercion, predominantly within the European landscape. Lithuania and the European Union, knowingly or unknowingly, have positioned themselves in a vortex of global politics where principles are sacrificed at the altar of expedience, and hypocrisy often wears the garb of diplomacy. However, before delving deeper, it is imperative that we ponder upon the recent events involving Lithuania, Ukraine, China, and Russia, along with the role played by the larger European Union in this geopolitical chessboard. It has come to light that China Railway Container Transport (KRC-1) has allegedly suspended its freight link with Lithuania, a move that seems to underline the embittered relations between Beijing and Vilnius. This decision, draped in the garb of bilateral deterioration, indeed carries within its folds the shadows of geopolitical maneuverings and machinations that often elude the public eye. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. You're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world? You've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. Now, let's begin. The precipitating factor here appears to be Lithuania's decision to allow Taipei to establish a Taiwanese representative office within its borders, a move not taken lightly by Beijing, given the sensitive nature of the One China policy. The European Union, alongside the United States, has lent its support to Lithuania in this venture, further straining the fragile sinews binding international diplomatic relations. Now, as we sift through the layers of this intricate narrative, one cannot help but notice the deception and strategic short-sightedness that underpins the European stand on this issue. There's a discernible inconsistency in the policies adopted by the European Union when it comes to handling relations with powerhouse nations like China and Russia, and this inconsistency doesn't favor smaller nations like Lithuania. If we start by dissecting the European Union's stance on the Ukraine issue, it's crucial to acknowledge that Ukraine has been a long-standing area of contention between the Western Bloc and Russia. Lithuania, along with the European Union, has been vocal in its support for Ukraine, often leading to sanctions being levied against Russia. Sanctions, as history would bear testimony, rarely create the desired impact on the targeted nation, but invariably end up hurting the common populace and creating an environment rife for conflict. The European Union, in its pursuit of championing democracy and human rights, seems to have taken a selective approach towards sanctioning nations. It has opted to penalize Russia, a significant player on the global stage, while simultaneously neglecting human rights violations in other parts of the world. This selective outrage in action not only delegitimized the moral standing of the Union, but also endangered the smaller nations within its fold, like Lithuania, that often bear the brunt of retaliatory actions from the sanctioned countries. Turning our gaze towards the recent China-Lithuania impasse, we witness a similar pattern unfolding. Lithuania's decision to endorse Taipei diplomatically is indeed sovereign. However, one must question the prudence of such a move in the light of the international repercussions it begets. By choosing to navigate the treacherous waters of cross-straits relations, Lithuania has inadvertently placed itself in a precarious position, with its economy at risk due to strained relations with a significant trading partner. The European Union's backing of Lithuania in this endeavor appears more as a tactical ploy than a principled stance. By throwing its weight behind Lithuania, the European Union sends a subtle yet clear message to China, further complicating the already convoluted landscape of international diplomacy. The cost of this diplomatic posturing is often borne by the smaller nations who find themselves caught in the crossfire of great power politics, their economies hanging precariously in the balance. Let's reflect on the broader implications of the European Union's deceptive approach, which ostensibly seems to support its member states, but effectively places them in a vulnerable position on the global stage. Lithuania, a nation with a history steeped in the struggle for sovereignty and identity, finds itself ensnared in a web of geopolitical intrigue and economic uncertainty due to the actions and decisions of a collective that should ideally have its best interest at heart. In the labyrinthine corridors of global diplomacy, where nations navigate cautiously, every step, every endorsement, and every sanction echoes with consequences that are often far-reaching and unintended. Lithuania's decision to allow Taipei to establish a representative office on its soil, while sovereign and legitimate, is not devoid of international ramifications. The repercussions of this move are not limited to the diplomatic arena, but extend to the economic sphere. affecting trade and investment, crucial pillars supporting the edifice of Lithuania's economy. We must, at this juncture, take a hard look at the European Union's role in this unfolding scenario. Is the Union, with its considerable influence and economic might, providing the requisite support to Lithuania to navigate through these choppy waters? Or is it, as it seems, leaving Lithuania to fend for itself, facing economic coercion from a global powerhouse? Let us delve deeper into the economic dimensions of this conflict to understand the precarious position Lithuania finds itself in. In 2020, according to the United Nations International Trade Statistics Database, Lithuania imported goods worth $1.3 billion from China, accounting for 4% of its total imports. On the other hand, it exported products valued at $357.7 million to China. Although these figures might seem inconsequential compared to the trade volumes of larger nations, for a country with the economic profile of Lithuania, this is far from trivial. The suspension of the freight link by Geostrategy is a signal, a harbinger of the economic strain that is likely to ensue if the diplomatic tussle is not resolved amicably and promptly. With a disrupted supply chain, the flow of goods and commodities between the two nations is bound to be affected, impacting businesses, especially small and medium enterprises in Lithuania, which rely on smooth international trade operations. As we deconstruct this scenario, the European Union's response, or the lack of it, is glaringly evident. While quick to endorse sanctions against nations it perceives as adversaries, the Union seems reticent to extend tangible support to its members when they face economic challenges as a result of diplomatic decisions. This approach is not only inconsistent, but also dangerously short-sighted, as it undermines the economic stability of member states, leaving them exposed to retaliatory measures from aggrieved nations. At this point, it's also crucial to draw attention to the broader geopolitical environment in which these events are unfolding. The European Union, while projecting an image of unity and strength, is internally grappling with multiple challenges, from economic recovery post the pandemic to managing the delicate balance of power within its membership. In this context, the support extended to Lithuania can be seen as a calculated move, aimed not so much at protecting Lithuania's interests, but at furthering the Union's geopolitical agenda. This is a classic example of realpolitik at play, where principles and commitments are often sacrificed for strategic gains. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. As we further analyze the European Union's actions, the lack of a consistent and principled approach is conspicuously apparent. The Union, while presenting itself as a bulwark of democratic values and human rights, has been selective in its outrage and inconsistent in its policies. These policies inevitably have a cascading effect, impacting not only the targeted nations but also member states like Lithuania, who are inadvertently caught in the crosshairs of international power dynamics. The European Union stance towards Russia is a prime example of this inconsistency. While the Union is quick to level sanctions against Moscow, often with the support of Lithuania, these actions seldom consider the economic and political fallout experienced by member states. The European Union sanctions policy, far from being a straightforward tool for enforcing international law and human rights, often seems more like a geopolitical instrument, wielded selectively and without adequate consideration for the consequences on all involved parties. Lithuania's endorsement of sanctions against Russia, while aligned with the European Union's position, carries significant risks and burdens for the nation. The economic impact of these sanctions, coupled with the retaliatory measures from Russia, places a disproportionate burden on Lithuania's economy. The European Union's failure to adequately support Lithuania in navigating these economic challenges raises serious questions about the Union's commitment to safeguarding the interests of its member states. It's essential here to reflect on the broader implications of the European Union's approach for the stability and well-being of its member states. The Union's inconsistent policies not only undermine its credibility on the international stage, but also erode the trust and confidence of its members. For smaller nations like Lithuania, this creates a precarious situation where they are compelled to align with the European Union's stance, but without the assurance of unequivocal support and protection from the Union in times of crisis. Furthermore, the scenario with China presents a clear case of the European Union leaving Lithuania to navigate through turbulent waters alone. The Union's vocal support for Lithuania's decision to allow Taipei's representative office might appear commendable at the surface, but without tangible economic and diplomatic support, this endorsement rings hollow. It places Lithuania in a position where it must bear the brunt of economic coercion from China, without significant support from the European Union to mitigate the impact. As we continue to traverse through this complex narrative, we witness a pattern of decisions and actions by the European Union that seem to prioritize short-term tactical gains over long-term strategic stability and the well-being of member states. This approach, characterized by a lack of foresight and consistency, ultimately serves to undermine the stability and prosperity of the Union itself. At this point, it is imperative to reflect on the potential paths forward and consider the ways in which the European Union can rectify its approach to ensure the protection and support of member states like Lithuania. It is crucial for the Union to adopt a more consistent, principled, and foresighted foreign policy that takes into account the interests and well-being of all member states. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.